Hi, we connected with Maria, and she is going to come on. So we're just waiting for her. I think, oh, good, finally. Maria, we felt terrible. So Maria was speaking about the goals, and we want to resume the conversation, the
Yeah.
goals when and priorities when you're buying and selling. And we spoke at length, but from a financial perspective, please give us your thoughts.
Yeah. Um, well, I guess like what I want, like something that's happened in the last week, right, is that rates have gone up, right? And it's kind of been all over the news. And some of the clients that I've been working with that I've been pre-approving that have been in the market or have said to me like, oh, okay, I think I'm going to stop looking now. I think I'm going to pull myself out of the market. And I'm like that's, like we know that there's not that much inventory in many places, right? And I'm saying back to them, no, this is the best time for you to stay in the market,
Right.
right? Because there are others that are going to naturally come out because maybe they really truly can't qualify. They were so tight, right, with their debt to income ratios that they can't afford a 0.25% higher in rate. But the raise in rates has not been that dramatic, right, for the average person. And I think that's like the biggest message I wanted to get across today is like, look, now's the perfect time to stay in. Go to the open houses this weekend because maybe you won't find 50 people at the open house. Maybe you'll only find 25 or 30, right? But you're still,
100%. Right.
yeah, cutting, if the perfect time to buy a home is when you want to buy one and you qualify for one. And, from the bank, from the lender's perspective and from your own pocket as well, you feel like, okay, I can make this payment each month. I can afford this home. And, it's an investment, right? It's an investment in the future. And, I'm not going to be married to my mortgage, even though I might be married to my home, because, even if you're somebody that is very skeptical that rates will ever come down again, which they will. It's just a natural ebb and flow of the market. You're Oh gosh, I totally lost my train of thought. Even if you're somebody that's skeptical of that, buying a home is still, historically and especially in our area, right, has been proven to be a great investment, right? Like your property is going to appreciate in value, and you're going to build, wealth and equity, in your home, right? I mean, I have a couple of
Right.
clients that I've been working with for 20 years who they really stretched a bit when they bought their home in Brooklyn, and now they've decided to move out they're looking like in Tarrytown. I got to introduce them to you, Michelle. Um, and they're someone, they don't have a ton of, they're not sitting on a ton of cash, but they've built up so much equity in their home in
Right.
Brooklyn that when they sell that, like that's going to be, they're probably going to be able to buy their next home in cash, right?
Right.
So
Which is great.
yeah,
Right. Not for
exactly.
you necessarily, but it shows that they have, it was a good investment.
It was a good investment. Yeah. And
Right.
listen, they definitely felt a little stretched, when they bought it. They qualified for the loan, but I always tell people like, look, what I can qualify you for at the bank and what you actually feel comfortable making, writing a check each month might be two different numbers. So definitely be thoughtful about that. Yeah, in this case, it really worked out, well for
I
them.
think also, though, Maria, is that you would ask somebody how long you intend to be in the house,
Yep.
right? That would be a goal. Is it a short
Yep.
term goal? Is it an investment? Because some people, maybe it's not an owner occupied, so their
Right.
rates would fluctuate. So that would
Right.
be a goal that you would discuss with the client, I would
Yeah.
assume, right?
Yeah, I mean, I just had that conversation with somebody yesterday who I said, he was thinking, oh wow, like I've only thought about a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. That's really the only thing I know about. And now I see that rates have gone up and my payment's going to be higher. And I said, all right, well, what's your goals here? Like, I know you're buying this to live in, but it's your first home. Is this something that you see yourself, like when you think about it, how long do you think you might be in this home? And he's like, well, I can't imagine that I would be, you know, in this apartment for more than 5 years, right?
Right.
You know, hopefully I'm going to get married, maybe I'm going to have a kid, etc. And I said, well, look, you know, we can look at other options for you. You can qualify for an interest only mortgage.
Right.
And that, even though rates have gone up a little bit, your payment will actually be a lot lower, you know, having this interest only option. And, you know, the reality is when somebody tells me that they don't think they're going to be in their home longer than 5 years, interest only arguably could be the best option for them, because in the first, like in a 30-year mortgage, a fully amortized mortgage, a traditional mortgage, what most people like listening might know about, you pay, when you make your mortgage payment each month, the majority of your payment goes toward the interest. There's very little that's going towards principal, especially in those first 5 years, right? So
Right.
it's
Right.
not like you're going to pay the principal down that much. You could pay a much lower payment, you know, as you're managing your cash
Right.
flow, right, with where
Right.
rates are, et cetera.
Right.
And maybe that's an even better product. And that helps you get into the home, feel comfortable about what you're spending each month,
Right.
but also hopefully building some equity and making, and it being a good investment.
Right. And also, as the interest rates hopefully trend downward, you could always refinance. And so
Yes.
these are different options.
And there are also ways to possibly save, which not everyone's, you know, doing a purchase SEMA. You can do something like that where you're saving some way in closing costs, so you're saving on the mortgage tax.
Right.
So,
Right.
you know, it's somewhat difficult to do, and have all this, everything has to align, and all the documents have to be found, but
Right.
it's a possibility too.
I mean, the reality is that there's never really going to be, you know, that perfect time to buy, right? I mean, people, you know, they think like, oh, this is now the perfect time. Like when rates were 2.5%, that was the perfect time. But as we can all attest, right, that had its challenges as well, right? So,
Right.
you know, prices were higher. Yeah. And, you know, so you know, the perfect time to buy, I stand by this, is, you know, what I said earlier. It's like, it's when you have a need or a desire, and you can, you know, you have the funds, you can get the financing.
Right.
Yeah. And there were, you know, you find them the perfect home, Michelle, right? How many times you bring people around and then they walk into one place and they're like, this is
Right.
it. I mean,
Right.
yeah, like I have to
Right.
have this house. Yeah.
Not always that quickly, but like 50 houses, but that's okay. I have a lot of patience. But right, you need, I think, in this industry, well, I don't care if it's your part of it or Leslie's or mine.
Right.
You really need a lot of patience,
Yes.
and because you're dealing with people's emotions. And
Yes.
you know what we forgot to say before, at least I forgot to say it, is that I think buying and selling real estate, whether you're on the buy side or the sell side, it's a huge emotional factor, right? So if
Oh,
you've lived
yes.
in the home for 50 years, it's hard for some people to part with it, right? So
Yes.
that's like a goal and a priority, and
Yes.
so it involves the emotions. And the same with buying, right? You walk into a
Yes.
home, you either love it or hate it, but it has to grab you on some level. So
Yes.
there's clearly an emotional factor. I think that one has to consider when you buy and sell.
Right.
Yeah.
And my job typically is to take the emotion a little bit out of it, to look at it from the legal side. So while I
Right.
take that into account, I try to look just at, you know, the legal side of things.
Right. Right.
And try
Right.
to bring everyone down to reality.
Right, right,
You know,
right.
it's funny. I never really thought about it before, but like I do think like probably Michelle as the real estate agent is probably dealing even like more so with the emotions. You as the attorney are really trying to keep everybody like, okay, let's take some of the emotion out. And I think on the financing side, I kind of deal with both,
Both.
right? Because
Right.
I have the, you know, we've got the numbers that just kind of are what they are. And like, you know, sometimes I'm like, look, this is what you qualify for. You don't qualify for that, you know, and we got to like draw a hard line. But definitely also dealing with, you know, trying to keep people's anxiety levels down,
Right.
because they're so nervous about getting the financing, you know, getting the rate, you know, will everything go well? Is the project approved? Will I get approved by the co-op board? You know, all
Right.
of that,
Yeah.
all of that good stuff.
And
Yeah, I
the
had a
timing, right? You have to be concerned about timing.
yeah, yeah,
So I think
yes,
these are all different factors we have to be focused on and attend to. the truth is there are so many details that one has to attend to
Yes,
in a transaction. So you really have to be mindful of all of these details
so true.
and keep very good notes. And whether you're on the financial side, legal, or on my side, on the real estate, the purchase or the sale, we have to be very careful of all the details.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything else? Any other goals or priorities you could think of, Marie?
No, I mean, I think that, like, I feel like that's a topic that can, we can always talk about. And like you said, because there are so many aspects, it's kind of impossible to think of all of them, right? And all the various scenarios. But I would just encourage, encourage folks to, like you said, it is so emotional, and it can also be like right now, I see a lot of my clients that I've pre-approved that haven't gotten offers accepted. They're feeling really frustrated. They're feeling, really like down, right? And just to, like anything in life, when you're facing those challenges, you just got to like stay the course, keep doing it, because if you keep doing it, you're going to land. I always tell people, like, look, you just haven't found that home wasn't the right home for you, and you are going to find the right one, and you just got to keep at it.
Right, I agree. I think also if it's a goal to really buy a home, I think you should be a little bit, as a buyer, more flexible and open your search area to maybe some related communities, or right,
Yeah.
so you're not so frustrated and you don't feel
Style
so.
homes, I think different
Yes.
condo versus a house. Maybe you want to take some of those, because a condo could be less expensive and maybe less carrying charges to take care of home maintenance.
Right.
So that.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
for sure.
okay, guys,
All
if
right.
anybody has any questions, please feel free to reach out to all of us. And until next week, we wish you a happy
Yeah.
weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Take
Great.
care. All right. Bye-bye.